Hello, this is Robert Faust, and I'm going to give you some information here on fulvic acid. Interesting topic, very popular topic now worldwide. And there's a lot of misconceptions about it. People go to our website, which is Wujinsan, which means black gold medicine in Chinese. That's a traditional Chinese medicine that's purified fulvic acid, used since the Ming Dynasty in the 1400s, at least in the medical literature, up until today, which is a popular product made in China. Ours is made in the U.S., state of Oregon, purest water in the world, and made with a U.S.-derived humic acid source. And I get a lot of questions because there's just a lot of conflicting information. So I make these YouTubes to try to answer some of the questions, because I know if I get a few questions, there's probably thousands of people that want the answers. So what I'm going to do is start answering some of those questions. Now, first of all, my first question is, that I get a lot of lately, is what is shilajit, or shilajit, spelled different ways, shilajit, shilajit. Okay, what is it? Okay, it's a traditional Ayurvedic medicine from India, and has been used since ancient times, and it's used today. Okay, well, just what is it? Well, it theoretically, it is a source of fulvic acid, or humic substances. Really, the term is humic substances, and there's a number of humic substances in humates, humic acids, etc. It's humic acids with an S. Okay. The valuable part is the fulvic acid, which is the golden color. That's defined as the acid-soluble fraction of humic acid. Humic acids with an S. It's one of the humic acids with an S. Okay. It's the part that has all the beneficial effects, antiviral effects, anti-inflammatory effects, chelation, etc. Okay. Now, shilajit is something that's mined from a hillside in the Himalayan mountains, northern India. It's a very narrow band of material that's usually hand mined. Okay, what it is, there's definitely controversy on what it actually is, but it's the leached, in an area of high rainfall, rainforest, a lot of biomass production, leaves, bark, animals, excrement, and all this stuff gets leached down and accumulates in an impermeable layer under the soil, not very deep under the soil, under the forest floor. Okay, so they find a hillside and then dig into that deposit, which may be only a few inches, and that's hand extracted. Okay, so it is a source, theoretically, it's a source of fulvic acid, because fulvic acid is formed by the decomposition of hardwood tree bark, leaves, twigs in a rainforest over hundreds of years in order to form. So it takes a long time. Okay. Now there's been the shilajit from India, the real thing, and I've had it, I've tested it. It smells. You get a very, very obnoxious smell, reminiscence of cattle urine, and it tends to carry over when you take it, and so your body tends to give off that scent. Kind of like eating garlic, and it's going to come through your skin, and So that's one of the downfalls of an impure product. In other words, this is just scraped out of a deposit in a hillside. It's not refined or anything, although there are refined forms of it. We're really trying to get fulvic acid. Okay. And a lot of times, shilajit from India is actually adulterated with soil and with cow urine, because that's the characteristic smell, how you can identify real shilajit or shilajit. most people don't continue taking it because of those properties, and you're not really sure what you're getting. I mean, it could have heavy metal contamination, it could be adulterated. You don't really know whether it has any fulvic acid. There's some theories that shilajit is a lot of excrement from jungle animals, ruminant types, grazing animals, that's accumulated because it does have that smell. And then there's theories that only shilajit from a rainforest that contains euphorbiae, trees in the class Euphorbiae. They're the trees that produce latex, like the Indian rubber tree, a whole range of trees that produce a white sap. Okay, so there's a correlation between the beneficial effects and whether it comes from a forest, rainforest that has Euphorbiae trees. So you don't really know what you're going to get when you buy shilajit. It's an unknown, it's unpurified, untested. It may have certain minerals, it may have heavy metals, it may have, I've had actually microbiologists test these products, and it's alive with microorganisms, flagellates, like protozoans. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get. As our product has been tested, there's pure fulvic acid that we produce, and it's been tested, it's pure. There's no microorganisms, no flagellates, nothing contaminating it in terms of life forms or microorganisms, and it's free of heavy metals, and free of aluminum, other than like 1/10 of a part per million, which you're going to get in just about anything. So this is purified. This is more advanced. This is what they use in China. It's down to the active component, which is this yellow golden colored material called fulvic acid, which is defined as the acid soluble fraction of humate or humus. And it has the active component in it is phenols. So there's hundreds of different active components in fulvic acid, because fulvic acid is just defined as a fraction. It's not a molecule. It's not a substance. It's a fraction. This may contain upwards of 300 different organic compounds in the quinone group, the phenols, and other things. Basically, it's going to be the end product of the decomposition of organic matter, carbon, humus, by microorganisms as far as it can go. And so you have maybe several feet or several yards or meters of humus or peat, decomposed organic matter deposits, that is broken down over centuries, millennia. And so you have all the salts that were normally in the plants. So it's a very potent source of plant-derived antioxidants, other substances. It's a very complex field. And I'll get more into the complexity of it in further YouTubes. But I just want to answer the question, what's shilajit? And while I'm talking about it, I might as well talk about what's mumia. Mumia is a form of humic substances that's used in Russia and Siberia since ancient times. It's pretty much the raw humus or humic acid derived from peat, ancient peat deposits. It's pretty much what we use to derive our humic substances that we produce here. And we mine it in the U.S., several locations, always within the Rocky Mountains, because it's a product of uplift, where it's exposed, by the uplift of the Rocky Mountains. So it's found at high elevations, usually, and maybe right in one case, right on the Continental Divide. And so it's always going to be associated with mountains and uplift, at least in the U.S. At least the type that's derived from hardleaf, broadleaf trees, hardwood trees. Because if it's derived from sedges, from brackish water, pine trees, coniferous trees, it's humic acid, but it has very little, if any, benefit. It has very little fulvic acid. So don't be fooled. It's all about this. It was not gold in color. It's not fulvic acid. If it's brown, turn it down. Okay, so now the next question is, this kind of follows the first discussion. What is black water? Well, we know what black water is water that's black, like it's in a swamp, okay? But there's products out there using the term black water. So what is black water? Okay, well, I can show you exactly what black water is. This is fulvic acid, one of the humic acids. This has the beneficial effect because it has the phenols, has tannins that are specifically beneficial on the cellular level. You can see it. The color shows that. Okay, so then you have black water. All right, so this is just plain tap water. This is solubilized humic acid by our activation process. So this has got all the humic acids. It got the humic acid, fulvic acid, ulmic acid, ulvic acid, and something called humin, which is like insoluble material. Now the black contains what they call methylene groups, which are associated with petrochemicals, coal, oil, things like that. Not necessarily good things. The humic acid is, has minerals, also has heavy metals. Fortunately, the type we use does not contain mercury, cadmium in any kind of large amounts, but it does contain lead. So there really isn't anything out there that's pure in terms of the humic acid world, because this has about the same amount of lead, like 8 or 9 parts per million. You'll find it in all soils, all over the world. It's in a bound form. It's not a soluble form, but it's still there. Okay. Now this is what happens. You want to make black water. Now we sell a little product like this in a little jar, and it's microfine, humic acid powder, and it has lots of uses. This is the real thing, and it runs around 10% fulvic acid, total humic acid 65–70%. Okay, so when we take this little scoop comes with our little jar of our product, and I only got this amount. I'm just going to put a little bit in. This stuff is strong, so you want to see what black water is. Just put a little bit of that in, and there's your black water. And it really only takes 1 scoop like this in a gallon to make a pretty strong solution of black water, so-called black water. It's like this because it's a colloid. The humic acids and the fulvic acids are released. Now they're in a solution, and now it's not going to settle out. And I only use a tiny amount. See? It's just a tiny amount, and now you have a solution. Now you can take 1 scoop, put it in a gallon of water, and you've got a strong humic acid solution, is what I call it, but it happens to be black. There it is. Okay. Now, what's it all about? Okay, now you can make this for pennies just by buying the humic acid powder, and it comes with a scoop, you put it in a gallon of water. You're good. It's not gonna, it's very, very inexpensive. Now, it has a lot of benefits, mainly because it contains 10% fulvic acid. That's the benefit, okay. But it contains other things, like the black humic acids, ulmic acids. These are things that have no basic benefit on a cellular level because the molecular weight's too heavy. Can't be absorbed by the cell membrane, cell wall. So it doesn't really benefit plants or animals. But it does benefit fungi in the soil, and it has carbon source, and it's used for soil building, it's used for agricultural use. It has other properties. It's used in livestock supplements, it's used in human medicine. because it contains the fulvic acid, so you get the benefit from that. A lot of people say they have more energy, they feel better, especially at high altitudes, because it increases the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. But it also has the humic acid, which tends to attach heavy metals, toxins. It is a very potent detox in the intestinal system, in the gut. It's not going to be absorbed. It's just going to run through the digestive system and out. So if there are heavy metals in the food, if there is radionuclides, for instance, we know there's no question about that humic substances or humic acid will complex and will take a hot particle like strontium-90, things that are associated with radioactive fallout, which we're being exposed to. And there's a whole range of radionuclides. Okay, so they're saying take some iodine, you know, and that'll protect you. Yeah, it only protects you against iodine-235, just one of the many radioisotopes. But you have strontium, cesium, you have a whole range of, you know, plutonium. There's all kinds of radionuclides in the environment right now. So the humic acid just grabs them and holds them, deactivates them, gets them out of the food chain. It's used on the soil to keep radionuclides out of your food. And it's well known in other parts of the world, like Russia, for instance. Okay, so if you took a little bit of humic acid, you know, it would grab and scavenge, you know, heavy metals, industrial chemicals, toxins, radionuclides in your gut. Okay, also, if you go south of the border or have a stomach upset here, I mean, a little bit of this, it's amazing in terms of what it does for your stomach. So it's a remedy. You know, like we would sell it, we sell it in Europe. It's used for livestock remedy. It's licensed, it's registered. Well, it's registered here in Oregon as a livestock remedy, and it's saved many organic dairy calves from viral diarrhea, which is a common occurrence every winter, and it tends to scavenge and deactivate viral particles. We can't claim that, of course, because that becomes something else. But if you do some research and studies, you'll find out that humic substances are considered antiviral. So it's a really good thing to take with you south of the border, believe me. That can save you from many days of discomfort. But it's not something you take every day. Yeah, it's a remedy. You know, it ties up heavy metals and other toxins and so forth. But as far as everyday use, you want something that's pure. You know, it doesn't have methylene groups, things associated with petrochemicals. So forget that. This diluted at 1 to 100 is going to have all the benefits as far as anti-inflammatory effects, chelation effects. It has, well, we've had it tested in Europe and a major university in Germany. It's been screened and shows has longevity enhancement effects, at least in experimental animals. There's a good reason for that, and I'll explain that in another YouTube. But so that's the difference between black water. It's a crude product. You know, we solubilize. We do it differently though. So we solubilize this. We don't add anything or detract anything from nature, but we activate it into a soluble form, and it's pretty good quality. I mean, it doesn't contain any priority heavy metals. I will say it does contain lead. This doesn't. Okay. All right, next question. A lot of people have asked me about using the fulvic acid for direct application, and I've got some feedback from people and use it myself. For instance, I had a guy called and he had knee problems, and he had sprayed it on his knees, and the pain went away. And this is a persistent problem he had, and he just couldn't believe it. Just, you know, take a little sprayer like this with some in there, straight, undiluted, and just spray it. You know, you can spray it on your face. People have sprayed it on their hair and their head, bald headed. But you can see my hair is pretty good because I take this stuff every day. It does make your fingernails and your hair grow. Okay, so some people are taking it and spraying it on their head, and I'm not claiming it, but they're claiming that it's increasing their hair growth. Okay, as you can see, my hair is pretty good, so maybe, okay. The other thing is just pain. Like if you have arthritis pain on your knees, or in my case, my hands, just spray it right on your hands. And it's kind of amazing, actually, how effective it is. It's got what's low molecular weight that is absorbed in minutes. And then it's anti-inflammatory, traditionally, in Chinese literature. So I was, you know, I hear some of these comments from our patients, our customers, and boy, I mean, it sounds too good to be true. I mean, you know, knee problem, as you get older, your knees start to lock up. You know, some people think they need an operation, they need knee replacement. Hey, you know, I've spread the word on this and tried it on myself, my relatives. Seems to help. I mean, it's certainly an inexpensive way of dealing with a potentially expensive problem. Knee pain, neck pain. Like I got neck pain because I got in a car wreck years ago. I just take some straight, put it in my hand, I just slap it on straight, right on the area, and it tends to eliminate the pain. So yes, indeed. It's also shown to be an effective sunscreen. Just spray it on your skin. It's good for burns, absolutely good for burns. You get burned, put it on as quick as you can. You know, and a lot of times you don't even notice that you were burned by the next day. And the other thing is bleeding, like cuts, bad cuts. Spray some on, stops bleeding pretty quick. Tooth extractions, right after the extraction, no pain, no bleeding. Don't take my word for it, just try it. It's not that expensive. And if it works, fine. If it doesn't, you know. But all my experience is that the feedback we're getting is, it's well, you just have to try it. You just have to try it to believe it. Because I did. I didn't believe it. That just spraying some of this on your knee would eliminate the knee pain? Sure enough did, at least for me. I'm not saying it's going to do that for everybody. But I mean, I got this from feedback, non-biased feedback from a customer quite a few times. So that's the whole idea of using it for any kind of burn, cut, insect bite. Maybe it makes your hair grow because it does stimulate cell division, right? It does. So that's why it stimulates healing, because it stimulates cell division. That's why we use it in hydroponics, and we use it for plants because it accelerates growth. We're pretty famous in the hydro world, hydroponic growing, because increased growth, genetic potential is more realized, things like that. So I could go on, talk about more things, but I'm going to, keep it short this time. I'm just trying to answer some questions I get, but there's plenty of information on our website, which is wujinsan.us or wujinsan.net. But wujinsan.us. This product is made in the U.S. and you can count on it. The ingredients are all from the western U.S., from the Rocky and the Cascade Mountains. So there it is, Wujinsan. You can see the mountain. It's always associated with mountains. Don't get it if it's not coming from a mountain, because it's probably the reed sedge type. It's probably the brackish water type. Don't. It's not the real thing. It's black, sure, but it doesn't have this. That's hard to get. Okay. So there you go. And Wujinsan, we have lots of information. Just go to the website, Wujinsan. That's WUJINSAN.US. Means black gold medicine, or golden medicine in China. So if you have any questions, just post them on the YouTube. and then I will make another YouTube and try to answer those questions. So that's all for today from Dr. Robert Faust in the Cascade Mountains of Oregon. So have a good day, and it's going to be the first day of fall coming up, and it's a good time to think about a detox, because we've built up a lot of contaminants over the summer.